This budget tablet destroys many high-end Android tablets, yet it did not get the attention that it deserved. We are talking about a device that somehow packs flagship-level performances, a gorgeous display with 120Hz refresh rate, and features that even high-end tablets struggle to deliver. I've been daily driving this for over a year now. The Poco Pad 5G did something that's going to make Samsung very uncomfortable, and I'm about to show you what it exactly is. My name is Prithviraj and let's dive right in. Just have a look at this tablet. Amazing build quality with an aluminum frame with only 7.5mm of thickness, a premium duotone texture that makes people think it costs way more than it actually does. At 568 grams approx, it's lighter than most flagship tablets, yet feels incredibly solid. Here's the first surprise: 5G connectivity. Well, you might have guessed that from its name, of course. While most budget tablets lock you into Wi-Fi only, this tablet keeps you connected everywhere. That's the level of future-proofing that even the most premium tablets don't often offer. The port situation tells you everything about Xiaomi's approach. USB Type-C for modern connectivity, a headphone jack because they actually listen to users, and dedicated slots for both SIM card as well as microSD card expansion. No compromises, no dongle needed. But the real magic starts when you power this thing on. So let's talk about the most important aspect of any tablet, and that is the display. This is where the Poco Pad completely destroys all its competition in this price point. It features a 12.1-inch IPS LCD display running at a resolution of 1600 by 2560 pixels. But specs are just numbers. Let me show you why this display made me question everything. It comes in at a refresh rate of 120Hz. This will make every interaction feel buttery smooth. Scrolling through apps, swiping through content, and even simple navigation feels premium. This is the kind of smoothness you can only expect from tablets that cost 3 times more than this. Color accuracy is surprisingly good for content consumption, photo editing, and even light design work. This tablet holds its own against much more expensive panels rather. It also features 600 nits of brightness, which will work out pretty well. For 90% usage scenarios, you won't notice any difference between this and premium displays. The bezels are minimal yet functional, wide enough for comfortable grip without those accidental touches. It's clear Xiaomi actually thought about real-world usage instead of just chasing the thinnest bezels possible. The Poco Pad 5G comes with a quad speaker setup powered by Dolby Atmos. Being very honest, these aren't the loudest speakers, but it's kind of in the comfort range. The audio quality was okayish. I was missing the punch in the mids and the bass segment, but the clarity of the sound was actually nice, as in the high frequencies are taken care of. That headphone jack that I mentioned earlier, well, this is quite a refreshing addition. Simply plug in a decent pair of headphones or earbuds and you get dramatically better audio quality. The built-in DAC is surprisingly good for a budget device. But all in all, for media consumption, you will have a great time binge watching your favorite shows on Netflix and also my videos on YouTube. So yeah, I would really appreciate if you could consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll keep creating more such videos. Now let's get into the business end of this tablet, and to be honest, this is the area where it even throws the new Galaxy S10 FE somewhere near the water. It features the Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 chipset paired with 8GB of RAM. But I needed to know, can it actually handle the demanding task, or is it just good on paper? So I designed the ultimate stress test, and here are the results. This is how it performed on Geekbench 6. Here are the benchmarks. Also, I tested out the gaming performance and tested out the benchmarks on 3D Mark. To my surprise, it handled that pretty nicely. Multitasking performance impressed me even more. Switching between heavy apps, running multiple productivity tools, and even light video editing, this tablet handled everything very smoothly. The 8GB of RAM ensures apps stay in memory, so you're not constantly reloading content. Storage comes in 128GB or 256GB. But here's the genius part: the microSD card slot. Most premium tablets force you to pay premium prices for storage, whereas Xiaomi gives you the choice to expand affordably. I even tested out the 4K video editing capabilities. This tablet handled that quite well. But while editing in 4K, I did face some minor slowdowns. But while editing 1080p Full HD videos, it handled it rather in a great way. So if you wanted to edit reels and stuff, you are good to go. It won't struggle at all. But there is something about the software experience that you should absolutely know about before you actually buy it. We will get into that in a moment, but first, let's talk about the gaming performance. I ran games like Asphalt, BGMI, COD Mobile, and a few more with maxed out graphics settings, all while running different apps in the background. The results were genuinely shocking. Negligible frame drops, consistent performance, and graphics quality that rivals devices $500 plus. But yeah, one thing I need to point out for sure, it will definitely get heated up with extended gaming sessions. Now coming to the software of this device, there are a few limitations that I need to point out. It is currently running on a skinned version of Android 15, which is Xiaomi's HyperOS. The UI is very similar to that of those iPads rather than the traditional Android tablets. As in, we don't have a dedicated app drawer, and that's fine to be very honest. And speaking about honesty, if I be completely honest about the software experience, it's a mixed bag with some surprising highlights. The interface looks clean and modern, minimal bloatware compared to other Xiaomi products. The tablet optimized interface actually makes good use of the screen real real estate. However, there are certain things that could have been better, and those are the ones you'll definitely notice. Screen rotation takes a moment longer than it should. Not a deal breaker, but definitely noticeable. Occasional animation stutters to remind you this isn't really a flagship level hardware. But here's what surprised me after months of use. These minor issues became completely invisible once you adapt to this device, although the software is the overall experience remains smooth and enjoyable with everyday tasks. Multitasking features work well, as I previously mentioned. Floating windows and app switching also feels very natural. For productivity work, it handles everything most users need without breaking a sweat. And software updates have been consistent throughout my years of testing. As this one originally came out with Android 14 out of the box, Xiaomi has been pushing regular security patches and feature updates, as Xiaomi promised up to 2 major Android upgrades. So you will receive the Android 16 update when it actually rolls out. The learning curve is minimal if you're coming from any Android device. The Poco Pad 5G hasn't overcomplicated the experience, which I really appreciate. One standout feature is the adaptive brightness and the color temperature. It automatically adjusts based on the environment and your usage patterns, making it comfortable for extended viewing sessions. And speaking of the cameras now, the Poco Pad has made some interesting choices here, as it is kind of weird. We have a dual camera cutout, but only one of them is actually the camera, and the second one is actually a flash. Again, that's weird. As when I bought it last year, at first I did not notice that the second one is actually a flash. It features an 8 megapixel rear camera, and the flash, of course, is purely for aesthetic reasons, and honestly that's a bit misleading. The front camera is where the things get more interesting. It's also 8 megapixel, but it's positioned on the horizontal bezel for natural video calling. So this is how the front camera looks like in the Poco Pad 5G. It's in a low light condition, but still, as you can see, it's good enough. Like, the quality is great. It doesn't have those weird white things that goes on many a times in budget tablets. So for attending meetings and video call, this is gonna pan out just right. Before we talk about the stylus situation, let's talk about the battery life at first. That's quite an impressive capacity. But not only that, it's quite efficient in terms of power management. In my testing, I consistently achieved 8 to 10 hours of screen on time with mixed usage, and even after a year, it still holds up. Streaming video, web browsing, social media, productivity apps, and even some gaming, this tablet just keeps going. With heavy gaming perhaps, the battery life drops to around 6 to 7 hours, which is still impressive for intensive 3D games. It also supports 33 watts fast charging and gets you from 0 to 80% in about 90 minutes. Standby time is excellent, as I mentioned. Leave it unused for a day and you will maybe lose around 5 to 10% of charge. That power management optimization really shows here. Now let us address the stylus situation, as here's where things get a bit complicated. The official stylus of the Poco Pad 5G is the Poco Smart Pen, and it most likely supports the Redmi Smart Pen as well. But the biggest problem I faced with the official Poco Smart Pen is that it remains unavailable in most markets. I spent weeks trying to source one, but still no luck. This is a significant limitation if note-taking is your primary use case. When I finally found the Poco Pen available, it wasn't deliverable to my address, and that's just sad. Hence, I tested out multiple third-party styluses from Amazon, ranging from basic capacitive stylus to more advanced pens. The results were more or less disappointing across the board. The pressure sensitivity was okayish, not the smoothest writing feel with those universal stylus, and the palm rejection worked for the most times, but not very consistent. For serious note-taking, these third-party options don't really cut it. But then I discovered something that completely changed my perspective. The MI Canvas app, which is Xiaomi's default drawing app. This somehow works significantly better even with third-party styluses than other apps, of course. Writing felt more natural, pressure detection improved, and the overall experience was surprisingly good. I also tested it out with other third-party note-taking apps like Nebo and Bamboo Paper. These two apps seemed much more optimized for generic stylus input. While it wasn't perfect, but it was quite usable for basic note-taking and sketching. For students specifically looking for a note-taking tablet, I will recommend keeping an eye for the official stylus availability, or consider other alternative tablets like the Lenovo IdeaTab or the Redmi Pad 2 as well, as they provide a much better stylus ecosystem support. But the tablets I mentioned right now struggles in terms of raw performance. They both really lag. But all in all, even if you wanted to take notes and stuff on this tablet while using third-party styluses, check out premium note-taking apps like Nebo, Notewise, and the rest. You will get a much more smoother and a better note-taking experience there, as they are much more optimized and also offers excellent features in terms of note management and organization. So here's a screenshot of the current price of the Poco Pad 5G, and I also tried to find out the current price of the Poco Smart Pen, and here it is. The tablet market in 2025 has frankly lost its mind in terms of pricing. Premium flagship tablets more or less cost the same price as buying a laptop. But nevertheless, what the Poco Pad 5G offers at this price, no other tablet really matches that in terms of performance, that is. So we have covered a lot right now, but what is the verdict? Is the Poco Pad 5G perfect? Well, absolutely not. But is this the smartest tablet purchase you can possibly make in 2025? Well, for most people, yes, it definitely is. Simply buy this if you want an excellent performance without the premium price tag, if you prioritize display quality and battery life, and also if you need 5G connectivity, then this tablet is by far the best option in this price range. And if note taking is on your high priority list, I would recommend you check out other options. Else, if you can live with those universal stylus, make sure to pair it up with some premium note taking apps, then you are good to go as well. But if you are primarily looking for a tablet for media consumption and entertainment, nothing beats this tablet in this price point. So after 12 months of testing, this remains my top recommendation for budget conscious buyers who refuse to compromise on the performance. The tablet market required a much needed wake up call about the pricing and value. The Pocopad 5G delivers exactly that. But in case you wanted to know more about the other budget options, then let me help you with that as well. Click here on this video, and over there we have done a head-to-head comparison of the Redmi Pad 2 and the Lenovo Idea Tab. Go watch that next, you wouldn't want to miss that.